Alright folks, how are we doing? It's Shabash, it's Orna, and it's Orna's 4th birthday. Ornaversary is here once again. Hard to believe this is actually 4 years the game's officially been released. Awesome stuff, and I thought to take the opportunity to make a video that isn't always best suited for Orna regarding the looting aspect of it, but the intriguing thing about Ornaversary is that the end of Gauntlet rewards, the random items that can drop, are in fact doubled. So on top of the extra bonuses to experience, orns, and gold, I thought why not, let's see if we could find anything interesting over the day of playing and farming hard. So my two main goals were to farm 200 million orns and to find an ornate band of gods. Let's light a fire under this and see if I manage to complete either of those goals. I'll just talk you through my farming setup first of all. So I've got all the Orn gear available to me, maxed out in terms of Godforged, the Court Jester's outfit, tier 10, Lost Helmet, tier 8, and then got a Godforged Venom and a Godforged questing bow, as well as 2 superior band of gods. I then ran everything with maximum boosters, so we've had temples running, and of course pretty much every hard boss was definitely ran with lucky silver coins, lucky coins, Shrine of Luck, and Vulcan's Brew as well. Did a couple of random little dungeons without a shrine maybe, but everything was really done to the max in terms of Orn boosting gear. And I actually ran every single dungeon on the day as Realm Shifter Seeker, allowing me to really kind of maximize the dungeons available to me in the spots I was visiting via my way vessel, because I was in fact working on Ornaversary and I wasn't available to kind of go outside, and ended up visiting kind of 2 or 3 main spots throughout the day. Found a couple of spots in Glasgow the night before, bumped a couple of way vessels down, and with the 2 unfelled concords that I had, kind of really sped up the cooldowns and yeah, just chilled through the day. In terms of my skills, basically buff up with Bear's Might, Gunner, and Warcry, as well as Worm Song, and I think gets my crit to around 50 or 60%, and then add in an extra 15% on sortie, and it crits most of the time. That was good enough for me, and away we go. My first notable loss didn't take long to arrive. Actually, on my 3rd hard boss dungeon, I ripped to an Immortal Lord. The very next dungeon, I found my first ornate quest item, the ornate artificada. Was this a sign of things to come? It wasn't until my 8th dungeon that I found my first summoning scroll from the end of dungeons, and I did find a few throughout the day. I'll just mention this the one time. 2 dungeons later, on my 10th in total, I found my first Murkheim hammer. The very next hard boss dungeon, I found my second ornate questing item, which was the fire pike, as well as a small bestial potion. On the 13th dungeon, I found my second Murkheim hammer, as well as another summoning scroll. I was really excited to complete a few hard Valley of the Gods, even though it costs 100 keys, because you get extra items and extra gold, extra orns as well. So really keen to at least attempt them. And on my 26th dungeon, I actually found a really awesome drop. It was the legendary Unfelled Concord, as well as a legendary gizmo there as well. Now, I'm not 100% sure on the rarity of the Unfelled Concord compared to like the Band of Gods, Old Northern Crown, and Mammon's Sword. However, it was pretty cool to find a legendary one. 2 dungeons later, I ripped another hard boss mode. This was mainly down to Blight and lack of crit. If I was running this perfectly, I would definitely run with smelly shoes, but I was trying to Godforge my pair of boots. And it wasn't until my 53rd hard dungeon of the day that I got my first real big paycheck, and that was from a Berserk Fallen Realm Shifter. Managed to reel in 687,000 orns from 1 kill. On the 58th dungeon, I was actually a Beast Den, ran in hard mode. I picked up my first Solar Secrets. On the 74th dungeon, I ran a hard Dragon Roost, and I got my first ornate accessory, a Ring of Sacrifice. In the very next dungeon, which was in fact a hard Goblin Fortress, Don't ask me why, I just ran everything. I found another Murkheim hammer. The 79th dungeon, which was a hard boss mode, yielded a double gizmo drop and small bestial potion and summoning scroll. The 81st dungeon, which was a hard boss mode, we got another opportunity at a big payday, but unfortunately I didn't crit on this sortie, left the Fallen Realm Shifter with about 2k health, and he attacked me through stunned and finished my run. The 84th dungeon of the day yielded another ornate NPC item, and that was the ornate balance left. It wasn't actually until the 87th dungeon where I picked up my first Galar's hammer, and at this point I'd already found 3 Murkheim hammers. 2 dungeons later, on the 89th, I found my first ornate random tier 10 weapon drop, which was an ornate Axe of Tiamat. And then on the 93rd and 94th dungeon back to back, I ran a Dragon Roost and I got another Goblin Fortress, and I got 2 Murkheim hammers from both of these. Well, 2 in total. The 100th dungeon of the day was of course a Goblin Fortress, and I was lucky I got an ornate Boreal Staff. 5 dungeons later, I was running hard boss mode, and I got another ornate ring. It was a Karl's ring. On the 111th dungeon I ran, it was a Chaos dungeon, and I actually got 6 items at the end of this. I think this is the most I've ever seen. Plus a small bestial potion as well, actually. The very next dungeon was a hard Mystic Cave, and I got my second Unfelled Concord of the day. Okay, watch closely. 115th dungeon of the day. King Growling goes down, and I get an ornate crown, but it was a lioness crown, not the old northern crown I thought. On the 125th dungeon of the day, I get my biggest paycheck from one monster, just under 780,000 orns from this fallen Beowulf. 3 dungeons later, on this hard boss, I get a double gizmo drop, one of which is ornate. My 132nd dungeon yielded a nice little ornate Horus's robe. 2 dungeons later, we got an old school Swash classic, an ornate Sala's robe, as well as another summoning scroll. On the 139th dungeon, I got a slap in the face from this Warrior's Pavane right on the last floor of another hard boss. So that right there was my last dungeon of the day. 155 hard mode dungeons in total attempted. I did rip 12 dungeons in total, including 2 Valley of the Gods. I didn't get anything from the one I managed to complete. Let's look at some cool stats then. Obviously, I didn't quite find that ornate Band of Gods. However, I did knock out my other goal, which was getting 200 million orns, and in fact I ended up gaining just over 232 million orns. That is my biggest ever one-day haul in my entire Orna career to date. Also picked up 22 billion gold. End of the day, 2,687 gauntlet keys down. However, I did in fact use a lot more keys. I ended up using 3,230 keys in total. Ran absolutely everything in hard mode. Interestingly, picked up 30 more Cursed Ortonite than Realmore as the random material drops from completing the dungeons. So in total attempted 5 Beast Dens, ripped 1, did 7 Chaos Portals, completed all of them, as well as 11 Dragon Roosts, tried 14 Goblin Fortresses, ripped 1 of them, tried 89 hard boss modes, ripped 8 of them, did 4 Mystic Caves, and that's probably why you're watching these books get upgraded in the background, along with 12 out of 12 Underworld portals completed, and then, as I said, I tried 3 Valley of the Gods, only managed to complete 1. And if you're wondering why that doesn't add up to 155 dungeons, like it says in the video title, that's because, as I said, during the day I was actually working, quote unquote, and my data entry wasn't on top of things, but I did record all of my dungeon rips. And at the end, I checked my stats, and I started the day with 13,374 gauntlet wins, ended it up 143 wins higher, add on the 12 rips, and that's why I attempted 155. So I also would have spent a little bit more than 3,230 gauntlet keys, but that's neither here nor there with how easy they are to currently acquire. So all in all, not a bad wee day out, grinding away in Orna on Ornaversary again. I hope you had as much fun as I did on the day. And May seems to have been a really busy month for Orna. Ornaversary, other realms, new raid bosses as well. And of course, 3.2 has been out for a couple of days as of the recording of this video. I hope you're having heaps of fun with that. I reckon amities are actually some kind of good content that would fit this kind of theme where it's completely random and that randomness isn't there normally for Orna. So again, that's kind of why I made this video, or why I had this idea to make this video in the first place, is that randomness available at the end of dungeons. Big thank you to all the Arisen Orna legends supporting me and the Orna Legends ecosystem, I like to call it, on the website, on the Discord server as well. That's kicking off. We're doing a lot of Amity research there as well. And of course, I want to thank you for watching this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. This was Shabash. This was Ornaversary. We'll see you next year. Ciao.